We are gathered today to join our thoughts and hearts in celebration of the 100 wonderful years, the eventful years of John Lawrence Barber Jr. Some of us here remember him as Dad, others as Judge Barber. For me, the one who placed me on probation for a year for appearing in his courtroom one too many times. Others as Attorney John Barber. Indeed, he was my mother's favorite attorney. As president of the Navy League. I find this most interesting for a guy from Nebraska. As a teacher, he was always trying to teach us how to do things. He tried to teach me how to water ski at Odell Lake, only he forgot to tell me to turn loose of the rope. So I tried to drink the majority of the lake. Yet others here remember him as Durrell's husband and strength, and some as simply friend and neighbor. In all these roles, he was confident and stern, yet loving, compassionate, family faithful, joyful, and fun to be around. I, for one, will always be in awe of the man who cared so deeply and enjoyed life so much. I often wondered how this attorney born in Nebraska, a judge there, and a judge here after bringing his family west in 1946, could be so engulfed in trains and farming. My children always remember fondly his taking them horseback riding and seeing John's personal museum, that caboose. Indeed, John was a man for all seasons. Let us rejoice in our memories of him now and always. This will be enhanced when you view the DVD of his life that will be available at the reception following the service. Gracious God, gentle in your power and strong in your tenderness, draw near to us in this time of memorial for your servant, John Barber. Make us a joyful company of your people, though aware of our loss, yet filled with thanksgiving for allowing us to walk these years with this man, while together we sought to fulfill the mission you laid before us. So let us not be dismayed, but strengthened by your promises and faithfulness to us, your children. God Most High, we honor you. Let us pray. Creator, Sustainer, everlasting God, we offer our praise and thanks for this moment of memorial for John Barber. With humble yet overflowing spirits, we rejoice in this time of remembrance and reflection for a life that touched not only those here gathered, but many more who knew John during his century on this earth. Today you are shining your holy light on us and giving us this chance to be in communion with you as we witness to a life now concluded. Be our breath, our beating heart, our pulse, as we strive to use the lessons of life that we saw and felt from John. May his gifts and your challenges be the light of our lives as we who remain strive to carry out your mission for this world. As the sailor always prays, give us fair winds and following seas in all of our days, keeping us on track that we might find your way clearly laid before us. If we falter, gently move us back on course, bringing us finally to safe lodging and holy rest with you. And now may the blessing of God, Creator, Comforter, gentle Spirit, be among us and remain with us always. Amen.
met John Barber in 1963, and he was always supportive and always patted me on the back for any accomplishment. Even recently, he told me how proud he was of me. John was a fantastic person who made everybody feel like he cared for them truly. So the poem I'm going to read really reflects how beautiful a person he was. It says, God looked around his garden. God looked around his garden, and he found an empty place. He then looked down upon the earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He knew that you were suffering. He knew that you were in pain. He knew that you would never get well on earth again. He saw that the road was getting rough and the hills were getting hard to climb. So he closed your weary eyelids and whispered, "Peace be thine." It broke our hearts to lose you. But you didn't go alone, for parts of us went with you the day God called you home. Thank you.
I lift up my eyes to the hills, from where does my help come? My help comes from God, who made heaven and earth. Before the mountains were made or earth formed, from everlasting to everlasting, God is there. God is gracious and merciful. God is faithful in compassion. God upholds all who fall and rises up all who call. In you, dear God, I seek refuge. You are my rock and my fortress. I trust in you. My times are in your hands. Happy are those who long to be just and good, for they shall be satisfied. Happy are the kind and merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Happy are those who strive for peace. They will be the children of God. And in all things remember, there is a time for everything, and everything on earth has its special season. There's a time to be born and a time to die. There's a time to be sad and a time to dance. There's a time to keep things and a time to throw things away. There's a time to be silent and a time to speak. God does everything just right and on time, but we will never completely understand that timing, so we must be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we live.
Well, Chuck and I have both had the privilege and been fortunate in knowing John since we were both in our early teens. And even though most of our connections to the Barber family were through Durrell and the daughters, we were usually exposed to the company of John, simply because of his being around the group. From McMillan Street to Law Lane to the Prairie Road Farm to Valley River Home to Willamette Oaks, the Reynolds home, we were fortunate to have numerous times to be with and around John. However, since Durrell passed away nearly 7 years ago, we have taken the opportunity to be with John as much as possible, mostly getting together for lunch and visiting with him in his residences. So with that intro, we want to spend a few minutes sharing with you some important things we remember about John, and even more important, some things we learned because we were lucky to have him as a friend.
I remember John as captain of the Omaha University football team. And many decades, well, I didn't actually remember. And many decades later, my own father, who also grew up in Nebraska, in Omaha, happened to be having a conversation with John one day and suddenly realized that as a young man, my father had watched John and his teammates practice.
As a young boy, I remember meeting John for the first time when he and Durrell and Wesley and Gail Nicholson came to our farmhouse in Beaver Creek for the regional conference of the church and stayed with us overnight.
We remember seeing John and Durrell out at the home on Prairie Road, and John always pointing out the nutrients to us. He had a love-hate relationship with the animals. On the one hand, they were all God's little critters. On the other hand, they could be a big nuisance sometime, and I'm not sure if he ever actually resolved that situation.
We do remember listening to his stories, some repeated many times, about riding in the locomotive Stowdale Lake with the Southern Pacific Railroad engineers. We think it was true, but many times we were also told how many times he got to run the engine.
I remember water skiing at Odell Lake too, only unlike Blaine, I forgot, or rather, like Blaine, I forgot to let go of the tow rope too. But John thought I was horsing around and scolded me for it.
And Blaine mentioned, but we do remember his wonderful sense of humor. Many times we laughed at his jokes, even if it was the 4th or 5th time we had heard them. In fact, some 3 weeks ago, the final joke when we saw John for the last time was about the couple in heaven who met, fell in love, and got married. And later, things weren't working out. So they went to God and asked if they could get a divorce. And he said, no, you can't. We don't have any lawyers in heaven.
As many of you know, John was an avid Oregon Duck fan, but before that he was a University of Nebraska fan since he got his law degree from the University of Nebraska. And whenever Don and I would go over and see him, he would always insist on starting things out with a rendition of the Nebraska Yell.
From John's dresser. Well, it would be okay to clap. This is done by Little Red. Little Red. I think he quits eventually. However, we had to hear it to the end. Well, we do remember John's tremendous support for this church. His many years serving as the head usher. Some of you may remember him coming down the aisle at the Christmas pageant as one of the singing kings. And his unending support for Durrell and her work here at the church.
I remember right after I got my driver's license, John and Darrell asked me to pick up their youngest daughter, Lynn, from school one day, which I did. And as I was driving her up Willamette Street, I got a speeding ticket. So naturally, I had to go before the municipal judge, who just happened to be you-know-who. John pretty much kept a straight face and gave me a reduced fine of $5 since it was my first offense. And I just happened to save that card in my scrapbook all these years. And at his 100th birthday party, I presented it to him. So what did we learn from our relationship with John? We borrowed a few ideas from Andy Rooney, but they also apply to John.
We learned that the best classroom in the world is at the feet of an elderly person. With John, all we had to do was listen, ask the right questions, ponder his answers, and become better people. And we can proudly say that John was a great teacher.
And we learned that from John that being kind is much more important than being right. John was always kind to us, and he could always change his mind depending on the information he had.
We learned that money doesn't buy class. We never really cared if he had any money, because to us he was, without a doubt, one of the classiest people we knew.
And we learned to ignore the facts does not change the facts. That is perhaps why John chose to be a lawyer rather than a railroad engineer. And finally, we learned that it's those small daily moments that can make life so satisfying. Our small lunches together, our conversations, our laughter, all of these made our lives much more satisfying because we were with our good friend, John Barber. So thank you, John, and thank you for your family, too. You did well.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you. Thank you.
Which art in June 22nd, 2009. Dear Father, it's Monday, and I'm enjoying my time sitting here at the computer writing to you. I did this every Monday. The difference is that today you went to be with your God. We knew this day was coming, we just didn't know when. We have faith that now you are not tired and can begin your usual activities. Instead of talking about what was happening here in Santa Ana, I would like to talk about all the experiences we have had together over these many years. Living with you, there was never a dull moment. While living in Nebraska, I won't forget the day you came home and we went out to see where the tornado was striking. We had to take pictures. Even up at Sun River, we smelled smoke and took off in the car to find out where it was. Another time, you arrived in Santa Ana on the plane and quickly told us that you had a plan. For our 10th wedding anniversary present, you and Mother were paying our way to Hawaii, but we had to leave Karen and Mike with you for the time we were gone. Yes, we had a wonderful time, and so did you. Mother and you had taken a boat trip to the San Juan Islands, and this gave you another idea. We would charter a yacht and drive her and cruise the inlets above Vancouver, BC. What a wonderful experience we all had. I could go on and on with the adventures we had together. Gordon and I enjoyed our days over in Diamond and the Steen Mountains. Going down a gravel road, we got a flat tire, but that was all right. A neighbor helped us out and changed the tire for us. I'm sure there are many friends who could describe their times and experiences spent with you. My family and friends will say that I probably got some of this trait, for I too am always coming up with an idea. Let's go, or let's do such and such. You also had a very caring side to you. What stands out in my mind was the last story that you shared with us. It was about a young boy who was diagnosed with epilepsy. He was going with his school class to Washington, D.C. You thought he needed some extra money to have while he was away. For several weeks, you gave him $5 a week. You were also concerned about his health and wanted to set up an endowment for him. Another instance, each year when Lynn was teaching, you would bring $2 bills for each child on your birthday. They were thrilled to get the money, for most had not seen a $2 bill. Throughout your life, you were always helping others. Father, you loved watching people. Going to the mall was a special joy. You could see all the cute girls and could watch the little children. Many a time you would mention things about them that you noticed. You were a people person. There was a thoughtful and purposeful side to you also. On your desk, at the house, there are personal reflection sayings which you use to help guide your life. You had a keen sense of wanting to be of help to others. Often we would think of Mother as the religious one, but you had been brought up in the Baptist church and you had your own religious ties and beliefs. Your family and friends were important to you. You were happiest when you had people around you. There were stories that you could tell about all your many experiences. You felt blessed to have had friends from all walks of life and all ages. Not many 100-year-old men would hold all these people at their service. Some of your best friends were much younger than you, but you were young at heart. You didn't even have gray hair until you were 90 years old. And we'll remember those days on Old Dell Lake when you would be pulled by the boat while sitting on the platter, reading your paper and drinking coffee. No one is surprised that you lived to be 100 years old, for you were always young in spirit, and most of the time, your body cooperated too. In the later years, those football knees began to give you a problem, but you didn't complain. Father, you and Mother were the persons who shaped all of our lives. You offered us the opportunities to spread our wings and the experiences that gave us confidence to go out and share our talents with others. We are persons today because of both of you. I want to thank you for your love and support these past years. I was always proud to talk about my parents and their accomplishments. Father, in the past 7 years, I have grown closer to you as you were on your own. I will miss you, but I am glad that I have so many memories of our times together. Our family in Orange County will miss you too. The great-grandchildren always said, I have a great grandfather. You have left us with a legacy of life experiences, stories, and family values. Things are in order, and now you are soaring on eagle's wings.
Little went unsaid. A snuggle, a pat, a wink. At home in the air, always love. You spoke of the world, a big and friendly place. So many places. Intelligent, interesting people around the table. Genuine character, and the lure of helping others. Gentle and still, a flash of temperament, a tower, a beacon, right and good. Music everywhere, heard, sung, danced, and played. Adventure always, curiosity, the unexpected. With a kiss you gave me away, a wonderful man 42 years ago. Father's Day, so special. A kiss, a well-wish. As the sunset came, grace and peace. Alas, without a goodbye. Now, my daddy, your next journey, wonderful as this. Shall I ask you what you see? But each of us knows, open like hands rising bright to the world in its glory. All love those who, gone to death, are waiting. In the green forest, the birds fly, and left behind memories of family and friends, always and more. A crystalline star in the darkness beyond, ashes by the lake. Gratitude for life, a life so good.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Brisborn, and I'm John's oldest granddaughter, the only girl, but I won't say his favorite. I'm standing upon the seashore. The ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud, just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and just as able to hear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side said, "There she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And that is done.
About a year ago, I began researching the past 100 years of my grandfather's life in preparation for his birthday in November. I came across a letter he wrote back in 1982 outlining his philosophy of life. I can honestly say that out of all the items I had gathered in my research, this one had the most impact on me. It put into words, quite concisely, why I so respected him. Let me read it to you. Reflections on Life, December 25th, 1982. For the benefit of my children and grandchildren, and others who might be interested, my philosophy of life is very simple. I want to so conduct myself that in my small way, this world would be a better place in which to live. I want to help people to enjoy their life, and in no way do I want to cause by my action any person to endure hardship. Life should be a pleasure, and I want to do what I can to assist people in getting the most out of their short time on earth. I know that we are not born equal. Some have different capacity than others. Some have physical handicaps. Some get more financial assistance than others. And it is my intention to understand this and do what I can to smooth out their path of life. I try to be sympathetic and understanding and never want to take advantage of anyone. We should always do our best to help others when we can and not take advantage of others less fortunate in order to better ourselves. We should do all we can to make ourselves secure, mentally, physically, and financially, but not to the detriment of our fellow man. Never take advantage of another's weaknesses or inadequacies. Give them all the help we can, but don't make ourselves weak in an effort to make others strong.
There is a wideness in God's mercy, like the wideness of the sea. There is a kindness in God's justice, who is more than liberty. For the love of God is broader than the measure of our mind, and the heart of the eternal is most wonderful and kind. And now may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May God look upon us with endless love and give us peace now and always.